Good morning, or should I say good afternoon. Welcome to the Sick of Plastic Conversations. My name is Lindsay O'Connell and I'm the communications lead for the Sick of Plastic Ireland campaign. And every Friday we are joined with people who, like yourself and like us, are sick of plastic and who are doing something about it. So this week we're joined with Taz Kelleher and Geraldine from Sustainable Fashion Dublin. And hopefully for the sake of for Plastic Free July, they'll be giving us all their top tips and tricks when it comes to shopping more sustainably and filling our wardrobes in a more conscious way than what we're used to. Hello, welcome to the conversation. I'm just going to wait for Taz and Geraldine to join us, and we're going to get talking about sustainable fashion and how we can be a little bit more sustainable when we're shopping. So if you're trying out Plastic Free July, can you let us know how you're getting on? If you want to get involved in any of the campaigns that we've got going on, you can go into voiceireland.org, or you can go into our parent organisation, Friends of the Earth, at foe.ie. And there's loads of different ways to get involved in our campaign. You can sign petitions, or you could set up local groups in your area and maybe lobby local industry into making themselves more sustainable and using less plastic. So I think Taz and Geraldine are here, so I'm going to attach them now.
Hello!
Hey!
Sorry, I'm just going to adjust this now to get a good angle.
Push this back a bit.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh God.
I'm going to see if we can...
Both of your beautiful faces in there.
Let's see now. Maybe we sit on the ground.
Oh,
and then,
get it on. Sorry guys, you have
It's all
to see
happening.
this. It's all happening.
Don't worry, looking great. I'm loving the fruit background. Very nice.
Excuse me.
Okay, we're back.
So guys, welcome to the Sick of Plastic Conversations. We're really glad that you guys could join us today.
Hey,
Oh, we're so excited to be here. Yeah, so excited.
So I've been speaking to loads of people. Thank you. Are you guys doing it? Are you backing away from plastic more than usual?
Well, yeah, definitely. I actually hadn't consciously decided to go completely plastic free, but to be honest, I didn't even realize that it was Plastic Free July until I started seeing everything on the 1st of July. But I definitely think it's going to make me kind of stop in my tracks and just see how I can improve in any way.
I think I didn't realize it was Plastic Free July because I didn't realize it was July. Like, how the hell is it July? You know?
Yeah, I saw it and it's like, is it July already? Wait, sorry, June's over. July.
Somebody get these guys a calendar. I know. I mean, going plastic free completely, I think, is impossible. I tried it for one day, and just even shopping in your supermarket or doing anything, it's almost impossible. But even just noticing yourself how much plastic is around, that's part of the great thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah, and it's all like, and we always say as well with fashion or with food, whatever, like it's all about trying to implement small changes. It's not being like, right, tomorrow I'm an organic vegan queen who's never going to eat or buy anything else. It's like trying to maybe go vegan once a week or trying to cut down your plastic where possible. It doesn't have to be an all or nothing situation.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. Do you know what else struck me actually? Because I was talking to a couple of people in the lead up to talking to you, and they kept saying to me, like, well, what's plastic got to do with fashion? And it blew my mind that maybe not as many people know how involved plastic is. Because you walk into a supermarket, you see the plastic on the fruit, and it's really easy to identify. It's not the same way with fashion, is it?
No. So like, you know, when you see polyester or spandex or lycra, all these kind of fabrics, they are all plastic effectively. They're made from oil. So when you hear like these microplastics going into our seas and oceans and whatnot, you know, a huge, most of it I think is coming from our clothing. So, you know, you wash your polyester jumper, goes in the wash, the microplastics come from the jumper, go into our seas and oceans. The fish eat the plastic, we eat the fish. We are effectively eating the polyester jumper and we don't even realize it. So it's so awful, but also it's really hard because people, I think there's so many mixed messages out there. And when we talk about greenwashing, and there's the likes of, say, Misguided, and they're selling, like, basically everything they sell is, you know, oil, man-made, you know, plastic effectively. And then they've got these blogs and they're like, guys, say no to plastic straws. That's how you can do your bit. It's like, or we can just stop using your single-use clothing and then maybe that'll make a bigger impact, you know? So it's just hard to decipher between what you know, the public mindset is, and show people that plastic isn't always necessarily what you think. Maybe it's so much more, like there's so many more underlying layers to the whole issue.
Completely.
So true. And I've got a few statistics here. So I read a couple of things and it actually nearly made me cry. I read that fashion is like number 2 to the oil industry when it comes to pollution in the world. And that like rubbish truckload of clothes is burned or landfilled every second. And when you just stop and think of that for a second, of all that waste, you know, like that's not entering the circular economy. It's just starting and ending really badly. And that we could totally make that work. I mean, how would that work, guys? How would you envision us being more circular when it comes to our clothing?
Yeah, so like it's interesting, as you were saying there, that it's such a polluting industry, and also like that a bin lorry is dumped every second of every day. And like as Geraldine was mentioning, a huge portion of our clothing is plastic. So 60% of that clothing is plastic. It's non-biodegradable. So we think of 60% of that bin lorry that's being dumped, it's non-biodegradable material, so it's going nowhere. So it's really, really problematic. It's, as you said, it's like a complete linear economy as opposed to a circular economy. The way in which we can engage in the circular economy really does start with the consumer in a lot of ways. Like there's loads of amazing initiatives for like brands who are making cool things out of recycled materials. But in terms of actually engaging in the circular economy, it's really, really easy. You know, it's rewearing what we have, it's buying secondhand, it's swapping with our pals, it's mending what we have. Like trying to just basically keep an item of clothing in circulation. The last kind of section of that would be maybe recycling that item of clothing, which is great as well. But there are loads of different processes we can engage in before we even get to the stage where we may recycle an old polyester jumper into something new. Like Patagonia, for example, are making polyester jumpers but from plastic bottles.
Yeah, like I think as well, another thing with people is that like they think that in order to have a sustainable wardrobe or to be sustainable with their clothing, they have to buy a €200 organic cotton shirt, and that's really not the case at all. What we'd always say is like, honestly, the easiest, cheapest, most effective way to be sustainable is actually just wear what you already have. I mean, it's so simple, but it's almost like too simple that people don't think of it. And honestly, so like you decrease your carbon footprint by a huge amount just by wearing your items of clothing. So I think it's 9 months of active wear of an item of clothing decreases its carbon footprint by up to 30%. I think it is. Like, so it's huge. And like, you know, that's simply by wearing the clothes that you already have. So it's not a case of you have to buy like, you know, itchy hemp underwear or make trousers out of granola. It's just honestly wearing what you already have. So it is really simple, and it's a lot more accessible than I think the perception might be out there to what sustainable fashion is.
100%. And this is exactly what you guys are doing with your organization, Sustainable Fashion Dublin. Can you tell us a little bit about you guys, how you got together and how you started it and where this lovely energy came from?
Yeah, so do you want to tell the story about it?
Yeah, so basically we actually, it's really funny, Geraldine and I didn't know each other before Sustainable Fashion Dublin. The day that we met was the day that we started the Instagram page, like literally the day that we met. Mad. So I have always been interested in sustainability, and well, even more so than sustainability, like secondhand clothes. I loved going to charity shops, and that was like my thing. So I started this thing on my Instagram where basically I was doing like a charity shop sneak peek, where like every week I was going to a different area in Dublin and like showing some of the things that were in the charity shops. So people kind of started getting in contact with me and asking to do more stuff with secondhand clothing. So I thought it might be an idea to run a little swap shop. And I just put it up on my Instagram saying, would anybody be interested in getting involved if I'm trying to organize a swap shop? And Geraldine messaged me.
So it's so funny because like I always put my hand up, like, this time 2 years ago, I was knee deep in fast fashion and consumerism. Like I was writing for a women's fashion magazine. So my whole, you know, job was centered around consumerism and promoting it, which is like the arch nemesis now. But on the other side of things, like I loved going to flea markets. So like I love the story behind the clothing, and that, you know, I get so sentimental about like, where has this item been? Like what journeys, what experiences has it had? So that was my perspective of kind of fashion and sustainability. I wasn't necessarily huge into sustainability yet then, but I knew that I liked that aspect of clothing as opposed to just maybe like fast fashion, although probably definitely dabbled in it. But so it was kind of, I was working for this fashion magazine, and then I kind of started being like, I think my reason to be on this world was not to promote like bum lifting leggings. You know, maybe there was something more to me than that. So it was the day that I went to my editor and said, I want to go freelance. I want to try something else, you know, maybe do something positive, something more engaging in kind of this whole world of like secondhand clothing. Seemed really fun and interesting. And I was following Taz because I was writing my podcast. Taz is a podcast producer. And it was so serendipitous, the day that I said I was going to go freelance was the day I saw her post.
Yeah. Head up in Grogan's,
Yeah.
and Sustainable Fashion Dublin was born.
Slogans! Sorry, Sustainable Fashion Dublin!
Yeah. We always say, well, I think all good ideas start in Grogan's.
Oh, absolutely. And some bad ideas as well.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, so it just kind of it kicked off from there. So like I was still writing as a freelancer. Taz was still making podcasts, so it was very much just like a side hustle, just like a fun thing to do. And then it just kind of took legs and snowballed. And now it's just over the last kind of 6 months we've made it our full-time careers, and we're really trying to make it something that's going to have like a long-lasting positive impact on the world.
I love it. And I love the way you guys describe yourselves an events collective. And I've looked up a lot of the stuff that you do. So for anyone who doesn't know, Sustainable Fashion Dublin, they take people on a journey from charity shop to charity shop. This is just one of the things that you do. And you show people how to shop because, when you walk into a charity shop, you got to be in the mood. You got to look. You can't go in with an idea of what you're looking for. You can't be going in looking for a ball gown or whatever. You just got to kind of chip away, don't you?
Yeah. Like we always say, don't go into the charity shop hungover or like exhausted or anything like that. You really want to be in the full of your health. But also we found that people were there was certain perceptions surrounding charity shops. Maybe that they were kind of smelly. I thought there was like not great quality clothing, and that it was like everything was messy. It was hard to find anything good. So we found that with these charity shop crawls, well, first of all, it was like a fun way to meet like-minded people. Like again, we were always saying that like it's so hard once you leave formal education or away from your jobs. It's really hard to make new friends. So this is like a nice way for like people to come together, like-minded, interested in something similar, and kind of just have a bit of crack as well. But we bring them from shop to shop, and just really like, because we knew a lot of the people, a lot of the volunteers working there. We'd get like sneak peeks behind the best kind of stock as well. But just kind of showing people like the Aladdin's caves that lie, especially in Dublin, we're very much
So
like
lucky.
#blessed with the stuff that's there.
Do you guys sit centre on the city centre, or do you come out to the burbs at all?
Oh, we've been everywhere. We've been to Cork, we've been to Sligo, we've been to Dunleary, all around the city centre. We had our sights set on Belfast, but then Corona hit. But yeah, hopefully we'll be doing more kind of travelling around again.
And it's not only charity shop walks that you do. You guys are doing mending workshops as well.
Yes. Yeah. So we do loads of different events. We teach people how to mend their clothes, like you mentioned there, and the basics in sewing. We do swap shops where we encourage people to swap clothing. We do talks. We give webinars to schools and businesses during this time. We also give talks when we're allowed to be IRL. And we host panel discussions and screenings, loads and loads of events.
But also we've kind of, like, whilst we started off, as the name might suggest, sustainable fashion, and just in Dublin, we've kind of moved into the realm of sustainable food as well, and just kind of suppose sustainable living in general. I think, it's once we always say that, like, if you're someone and you have no idea about sustainability, but you want to start somewhere, but it's all quite overwhelming, and it kind of can feel a little bit like, oh God, I don't know where to start. So we always say that like sustainable fashion is kind of like the gateway drug into sustainability. So once we started doing all these events that was promoting sustainable fashion, we're kind of like, it seems like kind of redundant to not delve into the world of sustainable food as well, because like you can have such a huge impact just by tweaking your food choices, or by decreasing your food waste, all that kind of stuff. So now we do even like food waste workshops, or teach people how to make their DIY nut milks, like all different ways, just to help people like make those incremental changes in the right direction, hopefully.
Because you're right, it's a lifestyle, isn't it? It's a choice. Whether you can't just have one section of your life that's sustainable and then the rest of your life isn't sustainable. It kind of works all together in an umbrella, doesn't it?
Yeah. And like, we're learning alongside everyone else. Like, we're definitely not Greta Thunberg's here. Like, we're just trying our best, but we're by no means perfect. We're by no means zero waste, or like vegan or anything like that. Like, we're just making positive changes as much as we can, and we're kind of helping, or we're hoping that people will join us on the journey. But so I think that might be a bit of an appeal to people, that they know that, look, we're just trying our best as well. And if everyone tries their best and we're not looking down on anyone or judging or preaching, it's just, look, let's just all do our best and see where we get with that.
There's too much anxiety otherwise. If you kind of try and do everything, it just becomes overwhelming, doesn't it? Do you guys, how do you handle that yourselves, since you're in the sustainability industry? How do you handle that anxiety, or do you feel it sometimes?
Yeah, like, it's funny because, we're looking to stay up to date and all the facts all the time. Even for like the graphics that we put out, we want to know the latest news, the latest facts. But like, calling a spade here, the latest news and the latest facts is for the most part always negative, that like things are getting worse and worse and worse. So it is quite difficult to just be surrounded by that kind of negativity in a lot of ways, and kind of feeling that we're doomed, you know. So we really try to kind of put a positive spin in it, because we really do believe that we still do have the power to change this, try to change the course of events. But we do definitely become overwhelmed by it. It would definitely be a lie to say we don't.
Yeah, like just this morning I was like, Taz, like, did you see the hailstones? They're the size of like golf balls or baseballs or whatever it was
in July
in Canada. Did you see that? Honestly,
wait, no,
I was like, I'm throwing the towel in. I don't know if I can go on at this point. So we're lucky that we have each other, because I think if it was, I couldn't do this by myself, and I don't think you could do it by yourself either. So we do kind of are able to vent and be like, oh God, this is awful. But then we're like, okay, come on, like, let's keep going. What can we do to like make ourselves feel better, or like, you know, help other people as well who are likely feeling the same way that we are. If we're feeling it, surely there's other people. So definitely just kind of being proactive and seeing, well, what can we do? I think that's always definitely helps. And I think that's something that, like, although a lot of people who are interested in sustainability definitely are experiencing this eco anxiety, I think by making positive changes, that definitely helps subside things a little bit, because you're like, okay, well, look, at least I know I'll always be on the right side of history in respect to this, because I've done something, as opposed to just kind of, you know, hiding under a rug and pretending it's not happening.
Yeah, and I think in that way, eco-anxiety can sometimes almost be a positive, because it does make people make a change. Like, if everybody on the planet had just a little bit of eco-anxiety, then hopefully they would implement changes into their lifestyle. So maybe seeing it as a positive, as like a kind of maybe like a push to do more and try to become more active in the sustainability movement.
Yeah.
It's a sign that you're feeling the right way about something, isn't it? It gives you that passion. And it works, though. You guys have over like 40,000 followers on Instagram. You've over 100 events that you've run, and it's just climbing the whole time. It just seems like there's a lot of support for what you guys are doing. That must feel really great.
Oh yeah, and like, we have to say, like, we just like, and that's why it's been so hard with Corona, because like our favorite thing about what we do is, like, you know, meeting the community and meeting people who are like like-minded, and it's so encouraging, and that's what really kind of puts the pep in our step and gets us going when we do feel a little bit downtrodden sometimes. So it has been quite tough over Corona, because we don't get to meet all these amazing people. But like, we've found that, especially in Ireland, like, people are so encouraging of what we're doing, and really supportive, even like the small businesses. And really, that's kind of the source of any kind of success we've experienced, is that it's the people, you know, lifting us up and helping us get the word out there and stuff. So like, again, we'd be nothing if people weren't helping us, you know, weren't sharing and, you know, attending our events and all that kind of stuff. Even like, you know, supporting our Patreon. Like, I just feel like we're very lucky in that we've got a lovely community who are so positive with us.
Definitely, yeah.
And they want to see change, which is great. That there's a drive to kind of see something different. Geraldine, how does it feel now? So that buzz of like going into a fashion store back in the day and like seeing an outfit there that was beautiful, and you know that you're stylish when you buy it and all the rest of it, versus walking into a charity shop and walking out with an old cardigan. You know, what's the difference in that feeling for you then?
Well, like, it's so funny, because what we always say from the get-go is like, look, we're not completely blind to the fact that going to charity shops, it's more of an effort than it is going to the fast fashion, going to the high street. Like, there, it's like, you know, A plus B plus C equals you're on trend now. They've got it all laid out for you, and it couldn't be easier. It's got all the different sizes. So like, sometimes, say if I'm exhausted, or, you know, if I feel like I need just a bit of retail therapy, you know, from my past self, I'll be like, I wish I didn't know what I know. I wish I could just flounce into a high street shop and just pick up this and come out with that and just feel great and know that what I'm wearing is like on trend according to, I don't know, Kim Kardashian. But now I just have such a better sense about when I open my wardrobe. I've got like, there's all these stories behind the clothing that I get. Like, oh, say like, you know, this is a shirt that I got when I was in Paris and I paid €5 for it in a secondhand shop. But then I went on a date by the Seine, and like, you know, it's got so many memories wrapped up, and I'll never let that go. And, you know, this is the jumper that my mom gave me, and it was handed down from her at Granny, and then it ripped and I was going to throw it out, but then I sewed it back up, and now I'll hopefully pass it on to, like, you know, my niece or nephew or children, whatever it is. But I just think there's so much more love in the clothes that I had, whilst before I would have like bought clothes without thinking and then thrown it out without thinking, and there was no kind of continuity to what I had, and definitely a lot less love. So a lot more love now.
You're so right. I mean, even that idea of retail therapy for me, and it's a personal thing, I'd walk into a shop, and first of all, the music, you know, I'd have to listen to whatever music they thought was cool, and it used to always bug me, you know, that, and then I'd have to shop for whatever somebody else thought was cool, you know. walk into a charity shop, you're doing your own thing.
Yeah.
You're having a great chat with the lady behind the counter who wants to be there, you know, and it's such a nicer experience.
Yeah.
And on that note, I want to show you my favorite charity find, actually.
Look at this, yes.
Check it out. Check it out.
Oh my
God,
God.
unreal.
This is what the Irish football team wore back in Italia 30 years ago when they met the Pope.
Oh my
Oh
God.
my God, it's amazing.
Nothing either of us could have worn would have trumped that. You said that it was good, but like,
That's
like,
amazing.
respect.
€3. €3. And I
€3.
looked it up. And I looked it up online. It's over €200 worth people selling them for. And I'm like, I wear it to festivals, but I have to stop wearing it because I have all these men coming up to me being like, the Pope, you know.
Oh, that's brilliant. But like that's it. Like there's so much more stories and love. Don't get me started, I get all sentimental, but like I just think, you know,
Yeah.
can tell a story. And like, you know, in the past people really did value clothing and they saw the inherent value of clothing and they invested in good quality pieces and they loved it and cared for it. But like it's kind of like fast fashion and convenience is kind of taking out the love of clothing, I think, and maybe like taking away the connection, and so there's really been a lost connection there. But I think, like, you know, what you're wearing now, like, you know, you'll feel so proud whenever you wear it and you just know what it represents.
Yeah.
So true. You actually feel more connected to your clothing, don't you? You have a relationship with it.
Yeah, completely. Like you'll hold on to it for longer, and that's how, like, the best way to engage in that circular economy is by making clothing last, you know. So that's great.
So can you tell us, it is Plastic Free July. Do you have any top tips for anybody who says entering this, they haven't thought about their wardrobe before? How could they be more sustainable then when they're fashioning for clothes or shopping for clothes?
So, like, we always say that the best place to start is by shopping essentially what's in your wardrobe. Looking what's in your wardrobe, trying to figure out what you're not wearing and see, can you upcycle that? Can you restyle it into something that you will essentially wear? So you might find a shirt at the back of your wardrobe that you haven't worn for years. Maybe try it on with a few pairs of trousers, a skirt, shorts, whatever. See if you can restyle it and actually start to wear it again. Look at what's in your wardrobe. Pull out those boxes that are under your bed, those drawers that are like Narnia, and actually see what's in there and see if you can rewear what's there, if you can upcycle it anyway, and just kind of embrace what you already have. That's a great place to start.
Yeah, it's so funny, Tasman. You were like, well, I'd start by saying shopping, and I know you said shopping's in your wardrobe. But no, that's not what we say. It's not shopping. Yeah, no, exactly. And then like we said, like, you know, the original sustainable queens, like, they were our grannies because they mended their clothes. They actually appreciated it and they invested in good quality. So, but also I think one, if there's any positive that came out of this whole COVID-19 thing, is that people have really seen the value in shopping local and actually supporting local brands, and, you know, seeing how they can support the small retailers as opposed to these big conglomerates who are ruining the world. But so I think that's another like really positive way, because often, especially in Ireland, I mean, there's a huge emphasis on, say, Irish linen. So opting for natural fibres is a great way to avoid the plastic counterparts within kind of the fast fashion high street shops. So going wool, linen, cotton, organic cotton, if at all possible. But these are just kind of simple ways that you can prevent the microplastics leaking into our water systems and all the kind of horrors that they bring.
And then also, when you're actually doing your wash, to try to prevent those microfibers leaching into our water systems, using a guppy bag or a Cora ball. So they essentially collect the microfibers and create like it kind of builds into like a fuzz, what you would imagine lint to be, you know, that kind of like fuzzy kind of fluff. So the Cora ball it almost like looks like a germ, and the fuzz forms around it. And a guppy bag, you put the clothing into it and wash the clothing in that bag, and then it collects all the plastic. So it stops that plastic actually being leached into the water systems.
Yeah.
That's really good. So we've got restyle, mend, shop local, look for natural fibers, and use a Cora ball or use a guppy bag.
Yes.
They're really great tips.
Yeah, and you can get those on any kind of you know, sustainable or sustainable living shops, like, so the like of Reusey or Green Outlook or the Kind shop in Dublin as well.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. I'm gonna take these and I'm gonna put them on our site. Do you mind? Is that okay?
Of course.
Go forth.
I think you guys are great. So what's the future for Sustainable Fashion Dublin? Are you guys just riding out COVID-19, or do you have any plans you want to share with us?
There's some things bubbling away in the surface, so
things are brewing, baby.
Yeah.
So we're we can't really say, but like basically
we're changing.
We're changing. We're going through a big rebrand at the moment because obviously we're doing more events that are outside of Dublin, and we're also like broadening the horizon and beyond sustainable fashion and doing loads in food and recycling and waste management and all that kind of stuff. So we're rebranding in the next few weeks, and we've got some exciting plans to go along with that rebrand.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I can't wait to see it. And I'm sure everybody else is the same. I'm going to leave it there, guys. I want to say thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for all your tips and for all your positive energy. You guys are really brilliant.
Oh, thank you so much for having us. And best of luck to anybody doing Plastic Free July.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, good luck. And if anybody's doing it and you want to send us how you're getting on, send it to us. Or if you need any tips and trips, we'll send, or tips. That's right. Tips, top tips, we'll send them to you the next month. From myself, Taz, and Geraldine, thank you so much for tuning in.
Bye.
Bye, guys.